They are three middle-aged men who have come to discuss the galactic bubblegum invasion.
All right.
You want me to introduce you guys?
Well, that obviously was Dr. Durant himself, Mr. Richard Hurley.
Yes, I'm Dr. Durant of Dr. Durant Sanctum on YouTube, Rich Hurley. And next to me is Max Overnighter.
How you doing? It's Max Overnighter. I do not have a YouTube channel. I just listen to theirs, but you can find me every once in a while popping on the Migo Like Facebook group, Migo Like. And our leader, the man of the hour, the one, the only, Lou Melagrana.
Also known as Tracksuit Lou, Dollar Tree Lou, El Italia, Spaghetti and Meatballs, Mr. SpaghettiOs, Dr. Hamster.
Founder of Melagrana Inflatables.
Recording from his toy room of solitude.
So, my name is Lou Melagrana. I have a YouTube channel called My Migo Like. I also have a website called mymigolike.com that features all kinds of fun knockoff and interesting items. But my best and most wonderful adventure is going to our Facebook page for Migo Like. We discuss all kinds of interesting topics, including trading cards.
Hey, and that would bring us to today's topic. The bubblegum invasion. And the bubblegum invasion I remember fondly. As a kid of the 60s, bubblegum cards, I mean, that came right with the baseball cards, football cards, basketball cards, all that kind of cool stuff. And with a lot of the amazing shows, I mean, amazing to us as kids, that were coming out. For me, it was Batman, of course, the 66 campy television series that they had came out with all the tops, came out with all the Batman cards. So later on, we had Beatles cards, we had Monkeys cards, we had Green Hornet cards. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, the Partridge Family, all kinds of just crazy.
Did they actually make the Partridge Family into cards?
They did make
Remember the Monkeys, but I don't know.
Yep, and Monkeys. They did like I said, I think I've probably somewhere around here have some of the Monkeys cards that were done. I pretty much focus mostly on the Batman, but I do have the Green Hornet as well, which was Greenway Productions, and it was as you if you remember even seeing in the show the Batman and the Green Hornet episode, they combined, so it was kind of one fed off the other, but but the cards were just fantastic, and it was a natural, I think, along with comic books, for a lot of us as kids growing up. I mean, we had you'd get the cards in the wax pack with that hard stick of bubble gum, which is where the term bubblegum cards come from. Was that hard stick of gum, and and as kids, you pop that gum in there, chew it, blow bubbles for 5 minutes, it loses flavor. But you get
covered in chalk. Wasn't that gum covered in chalk?
Covered in like confectionery sugar or something.
Yeah,
like
it was
so powdery and it would just crumble.
Yeah. When they got older, they certainly would, and I think the confectioner sugar, besides being a flavor, also kept the gum from melting and sticking to the cards. So yeah, you'd pop that wax pack. You'd pop that wax pack out, and random cards, like 8 cards or something like that in a pack with a piece of gum, and it was a nickel. So yeah, we'd take your allowance, your tooth fairy money, whatever you got, go return some soda bottles, for the bottle deposit, and hit the local 5 and dime and grab you some cards or candy or whatever it was. But for me, I spent a lot of money as a kid you know, on those cards, and you know, you'd be busting them out, and you know the Series 1, Series 2, Series 3,
Well,
you know, whatever.
They just get you hooked, man. They just keep delivering. And
Yeah,
then you gotta get the ones you don't have, and you've got 16 of one and 3 of another, and then
that would happen, and you know, we did the same thing, you know, a lot of times with the baseball cards and football cards and stuff, you know, but with these trading cards, you know, like, you know, a band of boys, I mean, we all get together and watch the show together. We, you know, talk about it, you know, so we're all going down to the dime store, and, you know, and we all be sitting there just having a big old card ripping open party, and just, you know, and we traded them, we flipped them, we swapped around.
What's flipping? Taking those cards and
well, what you would do is you'd each take a card, and or you know, and you'd flip them, and someone would call even or odd. You know, so it'd be face up, face down. So if somebody called even, they both face up or both face down, they got to keep those cards. And or if they called odd and one was face up, one was face down, that would be an odd. They'd take, you know, and if they called even and it was not even, the other person took the cards. That's how flipping cards.
That's brutal. That's card warfare.
That's you know, and you would only do the card flipping with your extra, you know. But most of the time, I mean, when you had like, I mean, we had stacks and stacks of baseball cards, and you know, growing up in Milwaukee like I did, I mean, at that time we didn't have a baseball team, you know, Milwaukee in the 60s, because the Braves had left. And we didn't have another baseball team until the 70s when Milwaukee bought the Seattle Pilots. So baseball cards, you know, we all had our favorite teams, and for me, because my parents followed the Braves, even after they moved to Atlanta, you know, my team was the Braves at the time. You know, in football, it was the Green Bay Packers. So, you know, with the cool thing with the, you know, and so with those cards, was we had Tops and we had Fleer at the time. And with those cards, if they weren't
Fleer,
if they weren't your team, you didn't care about the guys. You know, that was, you know, some people, you know, eventually would try to get one whole set, and then all the extras, they ended up, you know, as, you know, with the little clothespin on the spokes of the bike to make that cool sound.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you put them on your. I could see Rich and you drive around with your banana seat bikes with the giant 6-foot flag off the back. Riding around with your baseball cards.
The big monkey handlebars, right?
Yes.
But you know, with the cards, you know, I mean, the idea was, you know, we all wanted full sets, and you know, you'd trade them back and forth, and that's what would happen. Like, I might have 6 of the number 17 cards, and I don't have a single number 13 card.
Yeah.
Somebody else has got, you know, 4 13s, and he's, you know, so whatever it was, and we all switched around. And you know, I remember we didn't have, you know, we didn't collect cards the way we do, you know, that collectors do now. Okay. You know, they didn't have the binders with the little slip sheets and penny sleeves and all that. So a lot of those ended up in shoe boxes. And
isn't that the way we should say them? We wrap them in rubber bands and put them in a shoebox, or
put them in a shoebox. You know, put a rubber band on them, and you did learn quick that you didn't want to put the rubber band on too tight because it would dent the cards all up. But you know, you wanted to keep them together, right? And so you know, so that was the thing, you know. So with me, I mean, I can still to this day remember, you know, back in, it had to been 1967, 1968, when I finally got the last card I needed to complete my blue bets, you know, which was the Series 3. It was the number 44 card. It was the last card in that series, and it was the one with Robin, you know, sliding down the rainbow. And I can remember a friend of mine, you know, trading me that, and I was so happy, you know, and because I was, you know, one of those guys that I had to have them all. And I did have, you know, I had, you know, tons of them. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. That's how we collected. And at that time too, it was, you know, being, you know, in the 60s, it was different than collectors are kind of now. Because, you know, back then it was, you know, we were collecting for for what they were and not what they were worth or what they were ever going to be worth.
But that was the thing. Like when you got them, right? Like, right. You weren't. I mean, I don't think anybody back then knew. Well, maybe they did. Or collect for what they're worth. But I think you got them because you enjoyed them. Like honestly, somehow I this weird thing. I don't know if it was the smell of bubble gum or the cardboard, but something about the pack that had that kind of smell. And even the paperboard, cardboard they put it on, like it was cool to get the thing on the front, and then sometimes be like a little border or something on it, and then you'd flip it over, and it would have that. It was not black and white. I don't know what the right term is because there's always some kind of like you have those orange ones you show us, Mac, where it's orange and it's like black, but they kind of wrote that up, and it was just like. You can get lost in that. Like you could get lost just looking at this for,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Each one of those cards in its own, it's a work of art, obviously, in the, when you're talking about the comic cards, or when you're talking about the cards from like, whether it's, Lost in Space, Planet of the Apes, the monkeys, all that, they're just great pictures. And then on the back of the cards, some of the cards just had a simple write up, but some of the series cards that came out, they actually had puzzles on the back, so you needed a certain amount of cards to put the whole picture together. Now it's not like a jigsaw puzzle where
I was always missing like one or two cards.
Right.
Like, you never get those, And it was it's always the best part was missing.
Yeah, and you had, as a matter of fact, those. So then when you'd put them together, you had this giant piece of art, and right now I've got a ton of cards, and it's always been kind of one of the things I've been meaning to do is to put those together, and frame, to take a set, and put those.
Do people do that? They frame them up now, and they kind of
right, yeah, and I've got plenty of cards to do that with, and. But it was cool, that's what you did, and sometimes you'd get them like when they were brand new and you hadn't seen them before. Now for me, I mean, I can look at a card at the back now, and no matter how vague, and I know which character is going to be.
Sure.
But as kids, when these were all brand new, it was all exciting, and So as you're putting these puzzles together, sometimes you didn't know what it was going to look like. You had no clue because they didn't have the internet, and they didn't have put out any kind of a way to say when you collect all the cards, this is what the puzzle is going to look like.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that about the internet, Max, because for me the cards were, and like they're kind of talking about in the article, like they were every summer when a big movie was coming out, there was a set of cards at the store, and the first ones I remember getting are the Star Wars cards. And of course now Star Wars is so ingrained in everybody's memory. But I remember getting those cards and being like, what the hell is this guy? And looking at the cards and be like, who's this? Like I've never seen stuff like this before. And those are the first cards I remember collecting. Obviously I collect toys and stuff, so sports cards weren't big for me. But it's like, but like the Star Wars cards, and then every summer you get the Marvel Comics adaptation of whatever big movies were coming out that summer. And then the cards, there'd be Star Wars and Jaws 2, I remember, had a set of cards.
Yes.
And
they made them for everything, right, Rich?
They started making them for everything back then. And that was the way, like you said, Max, like to preserve the movie, right? Because you couldn't go on the internet and be like, I want to see a picture of Star Wars. So you'd have this picture of Chewbacca or Han Solo.
But you spent your $1.75. You had to go back to the movies to see it again.
Right. And it was a way to kind of keep the movie alive in your memory to a certain degree, or the nostalgia of it. And like I said, I remember I got those Star Wars cards, and I was just like, I got to see this movie because what is this?
Oh, you got them before the movie?
Oh yeah, because they would come out usually. They come out around the time
your lead-in
would come out or something. Yeah. And so you'd be wondering, like, what's this guy going to be? And it always stunk. Like, you get a set of cards with, like, you'd have some action scenes, right? Or you'd have a cool character. And then you'd just have a scene of, like, some guy fixing a wheel on an X-Wing fighter or something like that. X-Wing being repaired for the assault on Death Star. And you'd be like, oh.
Here's a guy serving lunch.
Right. Exactly. Like the commissary at Pinewood Studios.
That's too funny. That's crazy. I think the cool, honestly, the thing I probably remember the most is some kids doing the bicycle spokes. But I remember just for me, I never had a complete set of anything For the ones that I did have, I was saying to these guys earlier about somehow I remember somebody, maybe my sister. I don't know, maybe it was me. I remember having some kind of like Saturday Night Fever cards or something. I mean, I was a kid. I was too young to see it anyway. But but like even like you'd have like number 1, number 3, 5, 6, and 7. 10 through 18, and then I'd have like 36. And I could never like get all the cards. And it was tough. I mean, when you're a kid, you didn't have the access to go on Amazon and order your stuff, right? Like you had to be taken to the store, right? You had to get in a big old boat of a car and drive your butt up there in that leaded gas and and go get your stuff. But yeah, the bubble gum, that thing was like, yeah, you're right, because they didn't wrap that bubble gum in anything. It literally sat on top of the card, right? It was just, I remember.
Yep, it sure did. And baseball cards came that football cards. Yeah, it came in there, and and it's funny because you would think that gum at some point would stick.
Is that what it was? It was gum, because I thought it was some kind of plaster of Paris.
That's kind of what. But as a kid, I mean,
it was pure bliss for the first chew. Like it was like just
and then it was like
this is so good. And then it was like immediately turned to like a rubber tire. Like it was like
it was. It would last. I think the theory on it was that the flavor would last at least as long as it took you to look at the 8 cards to see what you got. And then after that, you spit it out and open up another pack, pop in a fresh stack, and look at 8 more cards. I think that's kind of how that works.
I agree. I think it's crazy when you see like people have unopened sets of cards. Like you see stuff all the time, unopened sets, like literally the wax, and you don't know what cards are inside.
No,
you just give a wax, and you're like. And are people like, I mean, I would want to open them, but then you're like, yeah, but first of all, what's a crappy set? And second of all, the gum's probably like, God knows, well, the gum's probably still chewable. I gotta imagine it's got to be.
The value of it is enjoying it, because it's like Schrodinger's cat, right? Like it's like there could be cool cards in here, there couldn't be cool cards in here. It's like
But you're always hoping you got that golden card that everybody was looking for, right?
I remember they had stickers too. Like you get one sticker.
Yes.
So you get like the cards, and then you get a sticker, and the sticker would be like, I always had them all over the back of my headboard.
Hogs cards. I think that's what I had.
The sweat
like, where do those stickers go? I don't know. I don't remember where those stickers went. I think my friend used to put them all over his wall. His mom used to get upset because
you put them on your Trapper Keeper or whatever. They'd be all over.
Stick them to your bike. I mean, that's.
Oh yeah. We had, I mean, because then later on in the 70s when they came out with the wacky packages and things, so those were all stickers.
I remember those,
kind of the crazy, they making fun of different advertising stuff, and I had those stickers all over the door of my bedroom, along with all kinds of other crazy stuff, and.
Oh yeah, those used to decorate like your door. Like my friend used to put them on his door, like to his bedroom.
Yeah. Mine were on my bed headboard. I remember my mom lost it. She came in and she's like, "What are you doing?"
Yep.
That beautiful one. I'm like, oh.
It's Star Wars, Mom. Wacky bag.
But then like I'm like 20 years old, sleeping in a bed with stickers,
vomit instead of comet, and
exactly.
Leg and screwdriver instead of arm and hammer, or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then, of course, you always, everybody had, the other thing that we used to do with those stickers is we take them, because you'd get books that for your school books, and you always had to remember making those paper covers. You
take a brown paper bag and wrap your book around it,
right? Biology or math or something, and then we'd stick those stickers on there, and or on your 3-ring binders or whatever. They won't. Those stickers went everywhere. Those stickers went on everything. It was awesome. I mean. And now the cards, most of the cards that I had, the like 60s, we didn't have a lot of the stickers. Those came out a little bit later, but they were a blast.
They were fun. They were fun.
Yeah, I love, and again, it's funny you mentioned Saturday Night Fever cards because in the article here they mentioned.
I'm sorry I said that. I probably just horrified everybody who's listening to this.
Well, I'm sure it was, and they said that Alien was a set of cards too, and both those movies are rated R movies, and they're selling rated R movies to
kids
for cards. It's funny.
Yeah, but it was okay back then. I mean, that's
like Woody Allen's Manhattan cards.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey. Whatever, that's but yeah, I mean it's just so much. It was so much fun having those, whatever it was. It's kind of, I think to me, it's such a natural thing to go along with the comic books. And obviously I mean, you still see them coming out now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still doing them every time. I mean, like for me, it was the 66 stuff got me started, but then, in the 89 Batman movie, the 92, the 95, the 97, every time the movie would come out and other movies as well. Marvel's got a huge set by different card companies that doing them, Skybox. It's so, it's just I think you hit it there, is that, it's being able to own a little piece of art, a little memory of those movies.
Yeah.
And we'd sit around, and I was never a great reader, but I would read comic books and I'd read the backs of those cards. And I mean, I think a lot of us, that's how we learned how to read. I mean,
to me, it was a way to get excited for the movie. It was like I said, it was every summer movie season, a set of those cards would come out for something, and I'd be like, oh, what's the black hole, or what's Jaws 2, and it was kind of giving you a little taste of the movie. You didn't mind, but you'd be like, I wonder what that's going to be in the movie, and you got so excited for it. But Star Wars is definitely the one I remember most, because up until that time, none of us had seen anything like that, and to see those cards, it was just like, I got to go see the movie to find out what this is all about.
Yeah, because I think they did, didn't they? They did Star Trek cards too, didn't they?
Yeah.
I'm sure
But that's the thing, you couldn't do that now, right? Because you just have the internet, so like cards are boring.
I mean, they do, right? Not to get into new stuff. When my daughter's like a Pokemon card opener, I can't say collector, destroys them, but they put digital ones online. So you don't need a paper card anymore; it's just digital. And I'm like, I think it just takes away so. I mean, how hard is that to do? I think it takes so much away. There's something about opening that wax package with that crappy gum. Sorry, I never like the gum.
Yeah,
just that. The cards themselves, the feel of them in your hand, and the smell of the cardboard and the bubble gum.
Came in the weird wax paper that they came in.
It was like it was like
crazy. Well, that was all part of the excitement of it. I mean,
agreed.
It's not it's kind of like it's not always just the destination, it's the journey, right? So that, I mean, you look at now, I mean, even now you see things where you buy those little plastic egg-shaped or whatever things, they're mystery this or mystery that, collect them all, but you don't know what you're getting inside of them, so it's you buy them, you got that anticipation, that fun of opening it up, that mystery, not knowing what's there. It's like opening a Christmas present, or a birthday present or whatever. And that was kind of the same feel, I mean, I know we used to walk up to the dime store, the whole 6 or 8 blocks or whatever, back when you could still do that as a kid, and go up to the local dime store and get a mouthful of, or a bag full of penny candy or whatever, and you'd pick up you hit the bubble gum machines and the little vending machines and get your super bouncy balls and your flicker rings and you had your cards, and some kids would be wanting to rip them open on the way home, and sometimes you'd wait till you got there and you'd sit there and just have a mad rip open party and see what's in there, and it's just it was fantastic.
Nothing more exciting than the candy store. It had candy counter, comic book rack, and the cards. It was like,
that's true.
I just loved looking at all that stuff.
It was like a real live Willy Wonka spot.
Yeah, and we had we had the stores. I mean, it was called, I think I don't know if they're still around, but the store that we used to go to as a kid, I remember it was a Ben Franklin store, the Ben Franklin 5 and dime store. I mean, it had all the, you could get those what now are the Chuck Taylor Converse shoes, but that's where you get the cheap tennis shoes, which are those Converse with the
now they're
big
affordable.
double white cap and
Right.
the little Keds that the girls all wore, and all the toys. And so yeah, it was just like, and they had everything in there, and it was just that was just like the greatest thing on the planet. And when they get the new cards, baseball cards, like I said, and all of these different things, and I remember my sister was a huge Beatles fan, and not that long ago. Well, unfortunately, she's passed away now. But before she passed, I was out looking at non-sports cards, and I found those Beatles cards that they did. And they did some that were in black and white, and they did some that were color, and some of them they kind of looked like the guys had autographed them. It was printed.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And I grabbed a bunch of those, and I put them in one of those floating frames where you could see the front and the back. You can hang it on the wall, but you could take it down and read the front and the back, and made a kind of a cool little collage with a bunch of those. So there's so much stuff, that you can do with them now, and that we would have never thought of back then. But back then, it was just a matter of having them all, and come a long way from
and carrying them around and all that shit.
Yeah,
banana bikes with your banana seat bikes with your saddlebags on the back, and
yep,
they'd be all over my bedroom floor. They'd be in shoe boxes somewhere. They'd be in my comic book boxes. You use them as bookmarks for your books when you're reading books.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing, is like sometimes the part of collecting things is not to keep it pristine, but to enjoy it. And those cards had so much more soul to them. Like Max said, when he was doing his West Side Story set, flipping the cards, with opposing gangs, like,
the Sharks
to win stuff. But like, that was the fun part of collecting. But you trade stuff. You trade the cards with a buddy. Like you have Chewbacca, I got Chewbacca. I mean, you
guys were out of prison trading cigarettes for stuff.
The infamous Star Wars card, right? There's a Star Wars card of C-3PO, where because of the way they took the picture, it looks like C-3PO is excited to see you. And
what?
So it's true. And
I met that guy in real life.
That's a very expensive card to get now because of of that glitch or whatever. They had to recall it, I think, because somebody caught it. But
funny. Oh my god!
It's just the angle of the picture, and then it just looks
too funny. Oh my god! Well, I think we probably have to get towards the end because we're running out of time on that. But
our time on this earth is brief.
Exactly. It's nice to go back and read that before everybody goes and checks out the Starlog and the articles that everybody's putting out here and we're going through, because it's a lot of fun to go back and look at. And honestly, we could probably talk about this for days, weeks, just go on and on and on, because there's so much, especially with cards. There's so much. They did it in everything. I mean, was there anything that was untouched? You tell me the Partridge Family, and I can think of as that crazy bus with all the crazy colors, and I'm like, they used to make clothes that look like that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and that's what I'm thinking, like on a card.
I used to wear clothes that look like that. What are you talking about? Oh wait, what do you mean you stuff? Okay,
too funny. You should have held on to those clothes. They'd probably be fortune too. So, all right. So I think you guys, I guess we just thank everybody for listening, and then go ahead and do your thing, do your names, shout your stuff, and I think we're good. So who's going first? Not me. I'm always last.
Why don't we let Max go first?
Mr. Maximus.
All right. Well, Max Overnighter. Are we going into the next one now? Is that what we're doing?
No, we're just saying our goodbyes.
Saying our goodbyes. Well, I'm Max Overnighter. Thanks for listening. Check me out on Migo Facebook. Now I think I'm inspired to go into doing more video and show some of these pictures of these cards that I have. They're amazing. Thanks for listening.
My name's Rich Hurley. I have a YouTube channel called Dr. Durant Sanctum.
I thought you were Dr. Durant. Your name's Rich Hurley.
Well, it's
I heard that name before.
You never see Dr. Durant and Rich Hurley in the room at the same time.
It's just like you never see me. You don't never see Max Overnighter and Batman in the same room, right?
If I remove my glasses.
Holy shit! Where did he go?
So yeah, I have a YouTube channel called Dr. Durant's Sanctum where we talk about old toys, old comic books, old movies. I showcase a lot of stuff from my collection. Do little video essays on things, and we just have a lot of fun in there. So please come and check us out. It's Dr. Durant's Sanctum, spelled DOCTOR. I make it hard for people rather than, I don't know why I didn't abbreviate it and do Dr. Durant, but it's Dr. Durant's Sanctum. And I've also got a Facebook page as well, Dr. Durant's Sanctum. You can visit us there. And if anyone is wondering, it's Dr. Durant because Anthony Perkins was one of my favorite actors growing up. And I love the black hole. And that is the character that he plays in the black hole.
Okay, I'm Lou Melagrana, and this was a lot of fun. It's always good to get on with these guys because we could it's very casual. We could just talk and talk. So we have a nice Facebook page called Migo Like, and everybody's welcome to join and have fun over there. I have a YouTube channel called My Migo Like, and then I have a website that's been going for a few months now, mymigolike.com. There's over 100 something pages of various toys and costumes and stuff people send in, such as Max and Dr. Durant here sending stuff in to post up there. And it's got all kinds of old stuff that's fun to look at. Now I'm thinking we should have had a section on cards.
Well, we can. Max has a whole bunch of them. And
I'll get you started, Lou.
Oh, my God. I know. Here it comes. Here it comes. All right. So you guys ready? We're going to sign off, and then we're excited that we got to do this, and thanks the guys for allowing us to come in and speak with everyone. And then we'll see you all soon.
Walk in beauty, my friends.